Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Hey! Get out! Merlin? What the fuck? What the... Ah! I will, no. No, you won't. I'll settle down. No, no. No, you're gonna leave. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. I ain't going nowhere. Yes, you are. I'll never leave. You understand me? No, I understand what you're saying. You understand? But you cannot.
So to be completely honest, this movie did not have me until the last 20 minutes, but that last 20 minutes goes so fucking hard that it redeemed the rest of the movie for me. Azrael is releasing to theaters on September 27th. I was lucky enough to get an early screening of it. So Azrael is a post-apocalyptic horror movie, and it's starring Samara Weaving. And basically, she is on the run from this religious cult that she used to be a part of that she escaped. And the whole point of this cult is that they're all mute. They can't speak because they have like their vocal cords severed or whatever. And that's honestly why I personally had a tough time with this movie, because there is absolutely no dialogue. I get that that works for some people, but for me, that's difficult. It's hard to keep my attention and hard to keep me in it when there's just simply no dialogue. I shouldn't say there's no dialogue. There is one character who speaks, but in a different language, and there's no subtitles, so you don't even know what the fuck he's saying. So because of that, you don't necessarily get any backstory or really any explanation as to what's happening, because there's also these creatures that are following everybody. For me, what did keep me intrigued during this movie was the sound design and also the gore and the effects, which I fucking loved. And like I said, the last 20 minutes of this movie absolutely fucking rip. Like, Samara Weaving is a badass. And that last 20 minutes of this movie is what completely redeemed it for me and made this movie good in my eyes. Because to be honest, I'm not sure I really would have liked it otherwise. Overall, I give Azrael a 7 out of 10. I think it is definitely going to work for some people and not for others. Again, probably mainly because of the whole no dialogue thing. But again, I think it was overall a good and entertaining watch, and I would definitely check it out again.
I'm not ashamed. This brand new horror film fucking scared me. 31 days, 31 horror movie recommendations. It's day 11. Let's go. This one's brand new. It just dropped today. Daddy's Head. Where to watch? You can stream it on Shudder. Daddy's Head is about this boy named Isaac. He is living with his stepmother after the sudden loss of his father. They are both grieving this sudden loss, and they're trying to find out what their life now looks like for the future. But things for Isaac take a sudden, very creepy turn when he randomly starts to get a visitor, who just so happens to resemble his late father. Absolutely not. Now, despite what some people might think of me on this app, I always give you guys a heads up when I have some privilege when it comes to movies. So in the case of Daddy's Head, I got to see this at Fantastic Fest on a big screen in a theater. There were quite a few people in the horror talk row that jumped several times. And after the showing, we had a Q&A with Daddy himself, the director, Benjamin Barfoot, and the next day he kindly spent some time with us all as well. We love you, Daddy. But all those additional things were after I got to see Daddy's Head. All those things were after I had already decided that this was one of the scariest movies that I had seen in 2024. So listen, if you're up for a bit of a slow burn, very atmospherically creepy film, a film that plants some seeds for some discussions with your friends afterwards, then put your phone down, shut all of your lights off, and dive into the creepy world that is Daddy's Head. Come back tomorrow for day 12.
Hey, can you help me? Yeah, sure. Bro, that is not me. Do not go in there. What? Oh my god!
It's Helen!
What the fuck?
Wait.
What the fuck is that?
A rusted, dilapidated airplane was aimlessly flying through the sky. The passengers in the cabin were terrified, as the flight attendants serving them were long dead specters. The captain, his eyes obscured by ghostly forces, had led the plane into a severe cabin pressure drop, causing extreme hypoxia. The emergency oxygen system, only capable of sustaining life for 15 minutes, was their only hope, but it was running out. 2 flight attendants had already perished. Wei wanted to seek help from the captain, but the cockpit door wouldn't budge. Desperate, he decided to repair the pressure system with Suni. The cabin was in disarray, with ghostly figures flitting about, but they couldn't afford to be distracted. As Wei worked feverishly on the repairs, Suni collapsed from lack of oxygen. Before she lost consciousness, she saw Wei surrounded by lost souls. The situation in the passenger cabin was equally dire, as the passengers argued over the dwindling oxygen. An old meal cart mysteriously appeared. Xiao Hei, summoning his courage, tried to push it away, but it vanished before he could touch it. Suddenly, his girlfriend's body convulsed uncontrollably.
The Terrifier team has done it again. They've released a new horror movie with an all-star horror cast. We've got Tony Todd, Tim Curry, Bill Moseley, and even Art the Clown himself, David Howard Thornton. The movie's called Stream. No spoilers, but I will tell you the basic plot of the movie. There's a family, and they're going through a really rough patch right now. And they want to make an effort to be closer to one another like they used to be. So they decide, you know what, we really need a vacation. So they try to replan a vacation that they've had in the past, and they go to this hotel. However, when they go to this hotel, there are 4 masked killers that are roaming the halls. But not only that, the killers are putting the family into a type of game. A game where the killers are competing to see whose deaths are the most creative and interesting to look at. Damien Leone of Terrifier fame does the special effects for this movie, and it does not disappoint. Stream is coming to digital and streaming October 15th. It is again made by the Terrifier team. The director of the movie actually reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to send you a screener, which I really appreciated. He liked all of my Terrifier videos, which, you know, made me feel good.
Mirad el teléfono, ahora, zoom. Mirad.
I got another one over here. What are those?
Guys, I'm home alone, I'm by myself, and there's something at my door and I don't know what it is. What the fuck? Oh my god. Ah! Oh my god! I'm not gonna let you in. Oh my god. What the fuck is that? What? Ah! Oh God! Oh my God! Ah! Please no! Ah!
real true crime case behind the movie When a Stranger Calls.
Have you checked the children?
You may have seen the movie, but if you haven't, a babysitter begins receiving cryptic phone calls asking her if she has checked on the children before learning that the calls are coming from inside the house. Since it's October, you guys have been asking me to cover the most terrifying true crime cases I know, and all I can say is be careful what you ask for. Janet Chrisman was an 8th grader. Only 13 years old, only a few days from her 14th birthday on March 18th, 1950. Janet was a responsible, hardworking girl, and you can really tell this from her character since this night was a Saturday night. There was a huge school dance that all of Janet's friends were attending, but Janet chose to not go to the school dance and actually babysit that night to make, a little extra money. Janet only babysat for 2 families, the Romack family and the Muller family. And that night at 7:30 p.m., Janet was going to be babysitting the Romack's 3-year-old son, Gregory. The house was in a rural, isolated area on the outskirts of town, and that night was a cold, stormy night. It's the setting straight out of a horror movie. The father that Janet was babysitting for, Ed Romack, told Janet to keep the door locked. Keep the blinds shut, keep the porch light off, and don't open the door for anyone. But if you do open the door, make sure it's someone you know by turning the porch light on first. Ed Romack even put his shotgun by the door and even showed Janet how to use it before leaving with his wife for the night to go have a game night with some of their family friends. At around 10:30, a call came into police. On the other line was a woman frantically screaming for help and for the police to come quick before the call just ended. Unfortunately, the police were not able to trace the call or even find out who was on the other line. And around the exact same time, the couple that Janet was babysitting for actually called the house, just to check in, but Janet did not pick up. The phone was actually busy, and what we know now is that's because Janet was on the other line with the police calling for help. The Romacks returned home around 1:35 in the morning. They saw that the porch light was on and also that the blinds were open, which was odd, and then they noticed that the front door was unlocked. When they entered the home, there was 13-year-old Janet laying on the ground in a pool of her own blood. She had been beaten, strangled, and essayed. They quickly run upstairs to check on their 3-year-old son, and luckily he was okay. It appears that he had actually slept through the entire attack. The police were immediately called, and this was the scene. The front and the back door were both unlocked. A window that was near the back door had been smashed from the outside, but it was smashed with an object that the family said was always kept inside. Janet had been beaten and strangled with objects that the assailant had found from inside the home, and also the shotgun that was left by the front door had not been touched. So this is my personal opinion, just my theory on what I think happened. I do not think that this was a random attack by a burglar who came in and saw Janet. I think that this was done by someone she knew. Remember, the house was in a rural, isolated area, so I think that this person that came to the house did it because they knew Janet was there, especially since nothing was stolen. I believe that someone that Janet knew came to the front door and knocked on the door. This would explain why the porch light was on and why the blinds were open, because Janet was checking to see if it was someone she knew, and then it was, so she let them in. And then that person attacked Janet by surprise, which is why the shotgun was not touched. And then afterwards, the assailant grabbed an item from inside the house, unlocked the back door, smashed the window to make it look like staged the scene like this was a random break-in. So actually, some of the investigators on the scene from day one did believe this theory, but the other half of the investigators actually believed that this was a random attack by someone who randomly broke into the house, and they came in from the house from the smashed window. So the investigators that believed that Janet had been attacked by someone she knew and that person had come through the front door, we're trying to find out who knew that Janet would be babysitting at the Romack house that evening, and also who might want to hurt her. Only one name kept coming up, and that was this man right here, Robert Muller. Do you remember how I told you that Janet only babysat for 2 families? Well, Robert Muller was the father from the other family that Janet would babysit for. And apparently, Janet kind of got the creeps from this guy. And apparently, she wasn't the only one. Pretty much all girls just kind of got this creepy vibe from Robert. And also, apparently, Robert also made some really creepy, odd comments about Janet's body before she died. And remember, Janet is only a 13-year-old girl. Robert was also one of the only people that that knew that Janet was going to be babysitting at the Romex that evening because he actually called her that morning to see if Janet could babysit for him because he was also going to be at that game night that the Romex were going to be at. Janet told Robert that she could not babysit for him because she was going to be babysitting for the Romex. Apparently, Ed Romack and Robert Mueller had been friends since high school. Now, I know what you're thinking. If Robert was also at this game night, then he could not have been the person that killed Janet. Well, apparently, Robert disappeared from game night for 2 whole hours because he said that he was going to meet up with a doctor that was going to be taking care of his son. Investigators went and they found this doctor, and the doctor said that he did not meet up with Robert that night. And the suspicious red flags pointing directly at Robert Mueller only continue from there. The morning after the murder, Robert actually asked Ed if he could come over and help him clean up the crime scene that was now his living room. This is weird for a lot of reasons, but especially because it had not yet been released to the public that Janet had been murdered at the Romax house. The only people that knew about it were the Romax, the police, and Janet's family. And also, of course, whoever killed her. Robert also told his buddy Ed that he had his own theory about what happened to Janet. He said that it was unlikely that the attacker came in through the window, that the attacker was probably someone that Janet knew and trusted. And the easiest way to get Janet to open the door and let this person in is if the attacker told her that Ed had sent them over to get poker chips. Tell me that does not sound like a confession, because why would someone need poker chips if they were at a game night? Robert Mueller was interrogated for hours and even passed a polygraph test. But remember, this is a polygraph test from 1950, so I don't 100% trust it. I don't even 100% trust polygraphs from 2024. The investigators actually brought their evidence to a judge and a grand jury to see if they had enough evidence to arrest Robert Mueller for killing Janet Chrisman. But remember, the investigators have 2 theories about what they think possibly happened. So they presented both theories to the grand jury, and the grand jury could not decide what theory they believed more. So Robert Mueller was never charged with killing Janet Chrisman. He ended up moving to Arizona after this because his reputation was, I guess, tarnished. Everyone in the area believed that he was guilty. Even his friends, the Romax, believed that he was guilty. He ended up dying in 2006 at the age of 83 years old. I'm really interested to get your guys' theories on this case. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to believe with my theory and also the main theory that Robert Mueller got away with killing Janet Chrisman. But if you guys have any other theories, please let me know. You guys are always coming up with things I would never come up with in my head. If you like this video, thank you so much. Please let me know what case you want to see me cover next. Until then, I love you guys so much. If you're doing anything this weekend, please stay safe, and I will see you guys tomorrow with the next video.
Let me see. I'll know if she's my dog. Merlin, sit. Turn around. Turn around. Lay down. You're not my dog. My dog don't know how to do no fucking trick. The fuck? Call 911. Hey!
Hey, excuse me. Nada. Are you doing dishes? I hope so.